In this video, we're going to look at how to create a mining mission. So mining missions can be done by either by ships, submarines, or they can also be done by aircraft, depending on the type of mine employed. In our particular case, we're actually going to be doing it by aircraft, and we're going to use a B-52s equipped with a Mark 65 Mod 0 quick strike mine. In the event that you wanted to use a submarine or you wanted to use some kind of small boat for the purposes of mining as well, you would have to make sure that you equip it with a mine magazine. For example, if we have our zoom walt right here and we'd like to go ahead and equip that with a mine magazine, we could simply go ahead over to magazines. We could add a new magazine, type in mine. We'll type in generic in this case. We'll keep it nice and simple. We'll do generic magazine, add selected. And now we could go to that generic magazine and we could load it up with any type of mines that we need to use. In this case, if I wanted to use let's see here, stretch it out just a tiny bit. Let's go ahead and say we want to use some of these acoustic broadband fuses. We can now add it to this particular ship, and now we have the ability to go ahead and drop mines with this vessel. But in this case, like I said, we're going to use the B-52s. So to create the mining mission, you simply want to find the area in which you'd like to deploy your mines. In this case, I will go up to San Francisco, and I will block off the bay here. So to find the area, you need to have at least 3 points. In this case, I'm going to use 4 points total. And we're going to use this as our total mission zone for the purposes of laying these mines here. So I'm going to select all those at one time. I'm going to go ahead and press mission. I'm going to go ahead and click on Add New Mission. And now it'll give us the ability to name it. So I'll call Mining the Bay. We'll change this from strike to mining. We'll then go ahead and press the OK button. So now that that's been defined, it's simply a matter of setting up our mission the same way we do normally. So I'm going to go find those B-52s that we had a little bit earlier, assign them to this mission. So now one of the neat things here is we can go ahead and control the size of our flight in order to spread out our minefield a little more aggressively. In this case, since we have 4 aircraft working on this, I'm actually going to set it to single aircraft to spread them out significantly. You also have the ability to go ahead and define how often the aircraft are dropping these mines at a time. If you set this to the 1/3, only 1/3 of our aircraft, in this case is going to be 1, aircraft will be in the air dropping mines at one time. In this case, I'm going to disable this option. We also have the ability to establish a mine arming delay. Since this is a completely hostile territory, I'm going to set the mine delay to 10 seconds. Keep in mind, if you're using some sort of surface-based vessel for this purpose, 10 seconds will get that vessel destroyed by its own mine. Scrolling down below, of course, we can define whether or not we want to do any sort of in-flight refueling. And as usual, we have the ability to enforce the flight size depending on how many aircraft we have at our disposal. We also have the ability to define the transit throttle, the station throttle, the transit altitude, as well as the station altitude. The mine laying area simply refers to the area in which the mines are being laid. One word of warning here that all mines have a specific depth that they can work properly at. In the event that you assign a depth deeper, or I should say the area is deeper than the depth of that particular mine, the aircraft will struggle to try to find a spot to actually drop that mine off. Keep in mind with certain types of mines, such as floating mines, this is not an issue, but those can only be issued by ships as well. So something you need to kind of keep in the back of your head. Now that that's all been established, I'm simply going to close the screen. I'm going to go ahead and unpause time here, and our B-52s are going to launch, and they're going to make their way to the mining zone. All right, the aircraft are just about there. They launched just a few moments ago. They're all converging on the zone. And now they're going to begin to disgorge their payloads. Again, the first thing they're going to try to do is try to find the optimum altitude at which they can drop the weapons, as well as a depth which is appropriate. In this case, the aircraft were unable to drop their weapons on account of the fact the mission had them assigned too high. The particular quick strike mine can only be deployed at an altitude of up to 5,000 feet. And since we assigned the mission to be striking at 36,000 feet, they are unable to deploy their weapons. We're simply going to come on here and make a quick little adjustment to that, and allow the aircraft will actually define to the appropriate altitude to begin deploying their weapons. The aircraft have now gone ahead and deployed their weapons quickly, and as soon as they've run out of their weapons, they're going to go ahead and start making their way back. Note that some of these aircraft struggled to find a safe spot in which to drop off the weapons on account of the fact that they couldn't find the appropriate depth in which to actually drop the weapon into the water. The aircraft will now return back to base, and once they're reloaded, they'll actually return and come back and do this entire process again. Notice that these quick strike mines are all there, and they do not identify friend from foe. They will basically explode as soon as their arming time has been removed. Now, if we wanted to do this exact same mission using a ship instead, it is handled mostly the same way. In this case, I simply go mining the bay. I've already added myself a mine laying boat. I'm simply going to go ahead and add it to the mission, and it's going to automatically start accelerating and making its way into the zone where it's going to mine. Now notice, whenever you're working with ships like this, it's a good idea to sit your arming delay long enough to allow that particular ship to get clear. Another neat aspect of these particular ships is you have the ability to define where the mine zone will be. In this case, if I wanted to go ahead and order it to move to this particular position like this, the ship will go ahead and move to that position before it begins deploying its mines. Again, it's going to be at the limitation of whatever is going to be going on there. But you'll notice now that we have a series of these mines with these little timers on them as the ship is going to head and lay all its mines. Once it's done so, that timer will expire and they will now be armed. That concludes the video explaining how to do mining missions.